For more on President Tsai's meeting with House Speaker McCarthy, we're joined by Sean King, Senior Vice President at Park Strategies. Sean, President Tsai said the meeting reassures the people of Taiwan that they are not isolated and they are not alone. Is that more important than ever for them, given that Honduras recently decided to switch diplomatic ties from Taiwan to China?
It's always important to stand with Taiwan against a threat of mainland aggression, no matter how many countries have former relations with Taipei or not. But as we see in Asia, it's important to stand with our friends, allies, and partners. So I'm very happy that Tsai got the reassuring message that she did.
Sean, Beijing has responded, the foreign ministry saying just in the last hour that China will, quote, take strong and resolute measures to defend our sovereignty and territorial integrity. But beyond this statement, what other action do you think China is going to take? And do you think we're going to see a repeat of the fallout that we saw with Pelosi's visit?
To answer the second question, no, I do not. We may see some PRC ships get closer to Taiwan than usual, do some sails around the island, but I do not expect a reaction like we saw in August when Speaker Pelosi visited Taiwan. Not at all.
And while the optics of the meeting can be seen as symbolic, where are the areas of cooperation between the U.S. and Taiwan? We know that Taiwan's semiconductor industry is of great importance to the United States.
Well, obviously, electronics, technology, healthcare, trade, defense, democracy, freedom, and the strategic position that Taiwan plays in blocking the PLA's naval advance into the Western Pacific. And Taiwan stands for so many of the things we do. So the relationship is obvious and is longstanding and very endurable.
Sean, so on the one hand, Washington says, they genuinely want to avoid conflict with China. But then in the same breath, here they are pursuing policies, meetings that are almost guaranteed to create conflict with China. Can you explain this contradiction? And do you think that the U.S. and China are headed towards a major confrontation?
No, I do not. And just because we have relations with Beijing doesn't mean we can't have relations with democratic free Taiwan at the same time. Our one China policy is separate from one China principle as espoused by Beijing. We acknowledge their claim to Taiwan, but we don't necessarily accept it. So just because we want to have stable relations with Beijing doesn't mean we roll over and sell out our friends on Taiwan. And no, I do not see us on a short path to conflict with the PRC.
Why not?
Because both sides have too much to lose. And China has not fought a war since 1979, a small conflict that they actually lost with Vietnam. And if Xi Jinping has just orchestrated this third unprecedented term of his, why would he fight a war he doesn't have to with the world's largest military that has a lot of practice? I'm not trying to be coy and write off the consequences of such a war, but I see no incentive for Beijing to provoke a war at this time, and we certainly have no interest in having one.
Well, the United States has long followed a policy of strategic ambiguity on whether it would intervene militarily to protect Taiwan in the event of a Chinese attack. Is that still the case?
Yes, because people have called for strategic clarity, which we have promised to defend Taiwan in the case of PRC attack. But the only thing that would count really would be a treaty. And we can't sign a treaty with Taipei because we don't formally recognize it as of 1979. So any sort of commitment to strategic clarity would really be just words. But President Biden, when asked, has said 4 times that the United States would come to Taiwan's defense in case of unprovoked attack from the mainland. So unless Taipei provoked the attack, which I don't think it ever would, not under this government, I do believe the United States would defend Taiwan. But let's hope it never comes to that. So there's no commitment to do so, but I think we would if the attack were unprovoked.
So here we are with the Pelosi visit to Taiwan and now this visit on American soil with Mr. McCarthy. Beijing's likely concerned about the frequency of these types of meetings. So, Sean, how does China prevent them from becoming routine? Can they?
No, I think they're going to become routine and more so. As you've seen since the overreaction to the Pelosi visit, delegations from Canada, Japan, the European Union, they've only increased to Taiwan. I think it's had the exact opposite effect. I think there's another high-profile Foreign Affairs Committee delegation going to Taiwan from the U.S. this weekend. I think these kinds of delegations, these meetings and interactions will only continue, and I don't really think there's anything Beijing can do about it.
And so going forward, do you think as long as the Tsai or President Tsai is in power, the relationship with the US will continue to grow?
Yes, I think no matter who is in power, the relationship will continue to grow. So long as Taiwan is governed by a democratic system, I think our relationship will continue to grow no matter which party is in power.
All right,
Because she's only going to be in power for another 8 or 9 months anyway.
Yes, we'll have to see how this all plays out. Thanks so much, Sean, for your time this morning and your perspectives. Sean King, there, Senior Vice President at Park Strategies.